Who here likes to watch films? Yay! All right. Well, you're going to love this next panel. We're going to talk to the moderator and our two fabulous panelists who are going to discuss the impact of film and series on destination tourism. Please welcome the moderator for this panel, Benjamin Ikran Güntöre, and a very special filmmaker, Bobby Roth. Welcome. And also filmmaker and producer, Bülent Turgut. Welcome.
Mike, it's great. Test audio channel. Test. Check.
Yes,
Audio
okay.
channel.
You're
Yes,
familiar.
everybody. Are you ready, guys? Come on. I want to see applause. Are we here all together? Come on. This is the prime time of TV. Welcome to our lovely Global Tourism Forum. I'm so glad to be here, guys. I see the cameras. Wonderful. Love you. Hey, guys. I want to see your hand. You want to be here? Drink your coffee. This is your prime time. The best time. If you have a question, we have 2 rounds, and we were going to talk about the film production locations, Los Angeles, New York, Istanbul, what we have done so many years in DC, in Los Angeles, New York, and my friends and producer, Bülent Turgut, as well as Bobby Roth is in here. I hope you would like to their stories.
Really.
Okay, so, okay, are we ready?
Yes.
What about your audio channel?
Yes, I checked.
Sure.
It's okay.
Okay. Sure. No problem, no problem. Okay, I have a question.
Say one thing?
Sure.
Forgive me, but I think it's important to wear masks. So I just wanted to say that because I see a certain inconsistency everywhere, including my hometown, Los Angeles, and all over here. I don't think I'm security.
Let me check.
Okay, let me start talking about. So I'm just gonna give you the hint. Like everybody watched the movies, TV series in all your lives. Like when I say the Empire States, which movie do you remember when I say the Empire States? Anybody remembers the Empire States? We have in Manhattan, in New York City. Of course, the King Kong. Thank you. When I talk about the 1940s, Humphrey Bogart, like Morocco, Casablanca, Miami Vice. Let's talk about the Magnum, Tom Selleck. You remember? In Hawaii. Do you remember the other movies? What happened in Hawaii? Jurassic Park is $1 billion business. You remember the location? Let's talk about the New Zealand. Do you remember the New Zealand? Which movie shot in New Zealand? Hobbit, that's right. What about the other one? Lord of the Rings, another $1 billion. Do you see the cash ring? Okay. What we talk about the location. Ladies and gentlemen, in movie business, in TV series, everything is about the stars, front of the camera, but of course the story and then the location. So I have a wonderful 2 gentlemen in Turkey. He represents so many films and TV series, Bülent Turgut, and as well as you remember. Have you remember you watched the revenge movies, ladies? Revenge movies, Netflix. Okay, anybody remembers the Lost TV series? What about the Prison Break? You watched the Prison Break? Yeah, he is the director of the Prison Break, and he's here. He could tell you what's the location, how it's so important for every countries and every cities in their life. You remember how many James Bond movies in Istanbul? Last 50 years, 3 James Bond movies. So, as mayor is in here, I can propose to him, why don't we bring it's like a Barcelona would, you know, that's right. So why don't we bring those people in Bodrum? What about the love story? People remember the Bodrum about the love story. Yeah, so basically the location, like we could talk about the Cleopatra, the Roman general, so we could influence them. You know, like when you say the Paris, everybody remembers the romantic comedy in Paris, like a Englishman in New York. So what about in Bodrum? So we have to, yeah, that's right. Conquer the area, Alexander the Great, Halicarnassus Castle. So, absolutely. This is the another story.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely. This is a think tank, okay? We invite you. We're
Very
making a
wound up.
barbecue. We talk about it. So I'm just the moderator. He's gonna talk.
No, I
Absolutely. After 14 years, if we don't have the stories, who has the stories? Go ahead.
For example, Sponge Diver's life. Sponge Diver's life. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Also,
Anyway, no, I just wanted to say, even before we talk about specific movies, when I was contemplating what to talk about today, I realized that my way into movies is through characters. And rather than watch a travelogue that's about the place, they're all very flat. A place like Bodrum would come alive if you made a movie and you had characters that people related to that were helping to tell the story. And I think that's our way in, and that's why I think theatrical movies and television shows. When I think of Miami Vice, which you brought up earlier, the opening was great, flamencos, Ferraris, whatever, but the characters, Don Johnson's character, his clothing, his attitude, all of the toughness and the tough guys in the show, they connotated something that was very positive. People loved the show. They used music in a way they had never used music before. And I think subliminally, what it did for me is it made me attracted to Miami without even thinking about it. But when I finally went to Miami to shoot the show, I was excited because I had seen these images already and now I was part of it. The characters were my way in. And I think it would really help beyond a travelogue if you shot a movie here, sir, and there were characters that people liked and identified with, and it got them into Bodrum. And I think if you look at all the movies you like, if you look at what Lord of the Rings did for New Zealand, it's because they got involved in the picture. They got involved with all the characters. I mean, people know the names of everybody, and they wanted to go to New Zealand. I think they said it brought tourism up 40%, just that one series of movies. That's a lot of people coming in, staying in hotels, buying food, falling in love with the place. And I think it would happen here.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that, like, yeah, okay. You remember like a Richard Gere, Pretty Woman? So why don't we bring the Penelope Cruz and fall in love in here? You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want to fall in love in Penelope Cruz in Bodrum? Okay, so let's talk about also the TV series in Turkey. Nobody remembers the Cappadocia like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Thank God, my good friend and our mutual friends in Apos, and he was also the creative director. And 20 years ago, they created the Asmalı Konak in Cappadocia. That's the best example of the location. Can you imagine 20 years ago, most of the 90% of the Turkish people don't know they have the wine and the story in Cappadocia, the people lives under those stees. But change the lives. But don't only think about just the Turkish people travel with the local bus stations. Of course, my producer friend is going to explain it. But just think about like when we sell those TV series, when you attend to the Cannes Film series, MIPCOM or Los Angeles, you can understand those TV series are so important for us. I don't want to go to too detail about the local politics, but the point is those movies are free. Ladies and gentlemen, last 25 years I'm making the media planning for Turkish tourism around the world. But the point is we pay the money for advertising. But TV series and films, we don't even pay. They pay us, guys. So when they watch the movies, they see the Marlboro man smoking the cigars or cigarettes. They see the Goodyear or Macintosh. So why don't you make our own movies, TV series, sponsored by the local community, so we could able to, instead of blocking the names, those cars, the clothing industry, the jewelry, our food industry, gourmet, the Turkish kitchen, our foods, and then the people would like to spend their time. Can you imagine like they spending 700 euros to visit the vineyard in Paris, but we're not able to show them. So basically, we have to have in Bodrum like a contemporary art. So that's why we need the TV series. You have to sponsor and support. But with this ratings, I don't want to go too technical, but with this rating and an economy, we don't have the enough power and financial support, so we can go to a TV series more than 2 seasons. So without the 2 seasons, we're not able to sell to other countries. Do you know like a 60
Can I add one thing to what you're saying? Because I'm
I
with
think
you.
you're making-
And He's got a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I think that also we're leaving out a very important component, which is the film itself brings people into the community.
Yeah.
When I was doing Lost in Hawaii, there were 400 people working on that show from the mainland. They all had hotel rooms. They all had meals. They all brought their families over. They did a lot to stimulate the local economies, and that's why I think there's a ratio of at least 6 to 1. For every dollar the local people put into a movie in tax revenues, whatever, they got back 6. And so it's just good business to make a movie in a community. It brings money in, and it also glamorizes and extols the community itself.
So
Okay, you have the mic and explain
I
us
want to
the
thank
Osman
the mayor, Mr. Ahmet Aras, for this hosting this big event and hosting us and hosting this big global tourism forum event. Thanks to Bulut Balcı also. I am producer since 21 years. Bobby is older than me. The first TV series he shot was Miami Vice. I was very small. So I think he said very important thing. If you look at back to Miami Vice, you will see that you will see flamingos, sea, superboats, girls, vacation, and everything. When it starts, you watch this, but because all people who watch that TV series think that Miami is a place where you can make an holiday. So the power of content, I will say content, not only film or series, is even it can be a game, even it can be a talk show, whatever it is. I will talk about the content, the effect of content. You told about the Asmalı Konak. It was a local Turkish drama series. It was one of the first, most popular ever TV series. I was a part of that project that years. But I will talk about, we found many people, investors and tourism people who are here. We have to tell them the power of content which makes sense for them, which will make money, which will attract tourism, which will increase the number of people who will come to the place, will accommodate. In 2002, the original story was in Mardin. There was no logistics in Mardin, no airplanes, no hotels. So we changed the content. We changed the location. Location is very important in any content. If you have a story, a good story, people must stay in a place. Even it's a flat, it's a hotel, it's a historical place, it's a farm, whatever it is. So we changed our direction to Cappadocia. In Cappadocia, we found a hotel. There were 2 hotels. One of them was 100 people can stay there, and one of them was 150. The crew we have was approximately 80 people that period. So we start with that. We get big ratings, and in a couple of weeks, it became one of the most popular series in Turkey. And then some boutique hotels and new restaurants started. The people in Cappadocia were not ready with any infrastructure for tourism. They didn't have any plan. We changed their destiny. And then, after that, many hotels, many investments has done. 6 months ago, I have been there. Now, there's hundreds of hotels. Now they are selling experience. They are selling not only flats, not only hotel rooms. They are selling lifestyle and everything. So I think there's a huge economy there. People are very rich there. So the power of content is a tangible example we can give. You can find many research on this. It's a local version that I can. And Bobby mentioned that when you spend $1 for tourism, for filming, for any content, the world average is $2.5. $2.5 means that you will make an income. So sometimes it goes up to $10 for $1. So it's a huge number when you look from this point of view. For attracting tourism, there must be master plans, sustainable content production. I will make offers at the end, but I want to give
You have
Bobby,
the mic?
yes,
Yes?
for international examples
Physically,
of
you
this.
have the
Yes. You can give some tangible
I am older,
examples.
and
yeah.
I've been making movies for a long time. And everywhere I've gone, I've been surprised because the only thing I knew about the place before I got there was what I had seen on television and movies. If I know anything at all about Turkey, it's from watching movies. And you know the negative effect that can have from a film made long ago, which I won't speak of. But it's such a positive effect too. I've always wanted to go places like Ireland. I'd seen it in movies, and then I got to go there and make 2 movies. And of course, it was better than the movies because I went to a place that I'd seen, and I loved it automatically. I loved the people automatically. So I went in with a positive attitude. If you made a good movie about Bodrum, I keep coming back, people would come here. They wouldn't just come because it's a beach, because there's probably a beach near where they live. They would come because they had seen something unusual, maybe a little exotic, but I still go back to the point of characters are how you get in. You see not just pretty pictures, but you see people with real situations. You get involved in the movie, and then you get involved in the place. And you walk the streets. When I went to Venice for the first time, Venice, Italy, I had seen this movie many years ago, Don't Look Now, with Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie, and I was fascinated by the movie. And then I went to all the places that I'd seen in the movie because I wanted to experience it the way these characters had. So it's just a complete win. Everybody gets involved, both on the economic side of the production, but more in the place gets glamorized. People get to know it. They get to feel not so scared of it. They get to go. I was always afraid to go to Japan, and then I started watching Japanese films, and I got fascinated, and now I'm dying to go to Japan. I will go in the next year as soon as things are open.
So one more thing, what we do is emotion. We are triggering the emotions when we create content. If you have emotion, for example, some people in one session, they want Bodrum to make a new attraction, new plans for Bodrum. To do that, you have to make a connection with the emotions of people, not only the buildings. You have to implement into movies or films or any other thing. You have to implement emotions. What we do in film business is triggering the emotions of people. That's why they want to go that location. In Turkey, there are many versions. For example, I can give you an example. There was a film, Eat, Pray, Love. There is a destination, an adventure of a woman. She was divorcing and turning around, and she was turning around the world. At the end, she went to India. After that movie, some organizations make an adventure tourism package. So this is a simple example. You talk about the Lord of the Rings. And I will give you a strange example again. You know the movie Troy. Troy was not shot in Turkey. But after they aired Troy, the movie, in Turkey, the historical region is in Turkey, in Çanakkale, 70% of increase in tourism. Even it's not shot in Turkey. It's a studio show. Absolutely. Let me talk about Disney. In Disney, there's not real location. All of them are virtual. They are designed. But what they do, they have a Disney in Paris. They have Disney in US, many places. They attract people in that way. Why? Because they created an emotion with people. That makes people, motivate people to go there, to see that places and make an experience and feel the same feelings. It's all about empathy. I think you know this better.
It's one thing to see just images of a place, but when you see Woody Allen in the place, or when you see Brad Pitt in the place, it becomes more interesting to you. And he's your way in, or Woody's your way in, or it could be Meryl Streep or Julia Roberts, like Eat, Pray, Love. They help you get into the place. And you're not going to make a movie without actors, so you're going to have that working for you.
Movies like your soul, guys. Like people come to Hollywood. They just walk around to see, oh, this is the house belongs to him or her. Can you imagine? You know, like the worst thing is for us as a producer, the location. We can create the mountains, seas, and those things with the special effects. Turkey has all of those things. So we call it a backlot. Turkey has like a large backlot for every kind of movies we're able to do it. My both friends mentioned, the movies are the soul. So everybody wants to watch the film, even they want to be sad, happy, romantic, whatever the reason they watch. That's why I call it a prime time. Can you imagine? They want to spare a time, certain moments with their family, lives, partners. These 2 hours, when they watch the movies, they want to be in it. They want to feel it.
Yeah.
They would like to have what they have. You remember the Harry meets Sally? You know, like in the movie, the session, you know, whatever she gets, I would like to have same thing. I don't want to repeat what she says. But the point is everybody knows. So the point when you watch those kind of movies, you want to be in it. So you have to give those things. You know, like I don't want to name those countries, but you could build the big, big buildings. But you have to give the soul. How you give the soul? With the movies, with the characters. Of course, I'm not going to talk about 4 hours a day, especially we talk about tourism and we talk about the film business in Hollywood with my friend in, you know, every week in Clubhouse, especially Turkish American Forum. But the point is, mayor and especially investors in the hotel owners, you sell them the experience, why they will come here. They want to experience when they see in the movies, TV series, they want to be themselves. They want to live the, you know, like a Sex in the City.
I found a word.
Yeah.
Make love with tourists. Make love with customers. To find that way is the way you are going to create movies or support TV series or any content. So it's the way. That's the way I think. It's a long term.
I come from a whole city that was based on movies, Hollywood, right? I used to have an office at Universal, and it was on, they have a tour. I can't tell you how much money they made just on the Universal tour. Every day, it would come by, and I would hear the same thing over and over. There were thousands and thousands of people. And this, they didn't even pretend what it was. They knew it was where movies were made, and they got to see the sets. They got to see the places that they had seen in the movies, and they paid a lot of money just to go on that tour. It's still going. So then Warner Brothers made one. And when I was working at Warner Brothers, they have a tour. This is a big business for you guys. I mean, just one movie
Let me
Yes.
tell
can
you
change
something,
everything.
guys.
One more. Disney is not creating movies. Disney is creating content for selling their goods. Let's think tourism as a product. Product placement inside a movie or inside a TV series. By the way, can we watch Bobby's
video?
Oh, yeah.
trailer?
I brought
You
a
can-
little, it's 2 minutes long,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
want you to see it just because it might pump
We
you
can
up
watch
towards
his video,
movies
please.
and TV.
Thank you.
Can they
So
play? it?
everything is merchandising, ladies and gentlemen. So I had been in Paris, in Los Angeles, in Florida, Orlando. Disney is selling merchandising and experience, whatever the show in the cartoon movies. But we have physically in here the life experience. They could have the documentaries, history, food, life, everything. Go ahead, play.
Transfer my tragedy. Got a curse I can't
Thank you, Bobby.
I think there must be at least 8 locations, cities, in that 2-minute reel. I don't know if it went too fast.
Okay, guys, so we talk about the movies, films in the last 35 years, so we're just talking about the 35 minutes. It's nothing. So we have to talk, and actually the last second term, we have to talk about the solutions. Because mostly everybody's talking about you couldn't do this, blah, blah. And we have the solutions. It's not so difficult. I will have one question, and then I'll give the mic to Bobby or Bülent. Like when you're watching the American movies, like everybody remembers the noise of the New York. Yeah, of course I love Manhattan, but you see the sirens, the fire trucks, the police, you know, the crowds, and everybody knows it's in New York. Have you heard about what's the sound of Istanbul? What about the Bodrum? When the people, you know, like the seagulls, the sea, the horns, the ships, loud, somebody's yelling.
The call to
what's
prayer.
What's the sound of Bodrum? So every product's supposed to have
Yeah,
the
that's true.
smell and the characters and trademark, and we have to sell the same thing. And also, as a satellite provider and TV, whatever, who am I don't know. The point is that so many years I'm selling the footage around the world. I always envy the Australian guys. You know why? Because every year we show the Sydney, they celebrate, New Year's Eve. I say, like, why we say celebrate Sydney celebrating the New Year's Eve? Why don't we start in Istanbul? And we don't accept, no, they're not in New Year. The New Year starts from the Bodrum Castle. So, but you have to do it every year and every year. So everybody knows around the world, people freely air the Bodrum Castle with the fireworks or whatever, the drones. Everybody knows if you want to celebrate the world, we say this is the center of the world and this is the sound of Bodrum, and we celebrate the New Year's Eve. If you're not in here, you're not in the New Year's Eve.
This
for example.
perception is reality here. If you convince people, if you are sustainable that you are doing that, it means that in a couple of years, people will believe that the center of the world is Bodrum. So to use media is really, you have to be skillful, you have to spend on it.
You
It
have to
looks like you are
believe in
spending
yourself,
too much,
first
but in long period, if you are sustainable, if you are insisting on the thing you believe, people will believe in a couple of years. So you have to make long-term plans. So I want to have some ideas to people. If I were you, I will host directors, scriptwriters for free in Bodrum. They have to inspire in a native way, isn't it? This is the first method, the cheapest method. It's a place, very beautiful. If you host people for free, especially scriptwriters and the directors, I think.
In wintertime, can you
In
imagine the
wintertime,
painters, screenwriters?
they can inspire from Bodrum or any location in the world. It makes them to inspire, to learn, to understand the culture, and they will natively create. Maybe it will take 10 years. After 10 years, people will create content about Bodrum, lifestyle in Bodrum, stories of Bodrum. So it's a case. Second thing, most of the countries in the world has tax incentives in order to people to shoot in their country or in their city. They pay extras. Also in Turkey, we have tax incentive. I think it's a new.
I could explain later
yes.
on what's the tax incentives, not only
Yes.
18% of the
And
VAT.
it's not just tax incentive. For example, if you go to San Marino, it's a small island. If you spend approximately $2 million, they pay you 30% back. In order to you to shoot there, because they know that if you shoot movies every year, in a couple of years, people will know where San Marino is. So it will increase the number of people there going there. For Paris, we call it a romantic city. For Rome, we call it a more romantic city. When you look at back, you will see hundreds of movies done there. Hundreds of love stories are done there. People want to marry in Rome because most of the best weddings done in Rome in most of the movies. So they became a brand natively using this just movies and films and any other thing on books, and all of them are soft power that can be attract people and tourism. That's all I can say.
And can I add one thing? Coming from a place that's far away, I think Turkey might be one of the most unknown places in the world to people in the United States. for such a big, successful country with so much history, I found when I finally came here only 5 years ago for the first time, I didn't know anything about it. And I realized that a lot of what I know about any city is what I've seen in the movies over the years. And I completely agree. The money that you would invest with tax incentives or with just deals on hotels to get people to shoot there would come back, you know, tenfold, really, because this is a wonderful place, and it's a wonderful place for Americans, because it's exotic, it's got different cultures. Do you know, I've been telling people, do you know that Istanbul is a city that's on 2 continents? That should be pretty obvious, right? Americans are very cut off from the world. Maybe Europeans know, but Americans are very far away, and they can be educated more from one movie than they're ever going to get in school.
Yeah, let me tell you another things before we finalize the panel. Like always, we talk about in America as a melting point. I said in Americans in White House or Pentagon, United Nations, like you're not the melting point just 200 years. In Turkey, is 40,000 years. Still, we're melting, and you're talking yourself as a melting point. This is the civilization of the country. You call it Anatolia, Asia Minor, whatever you call. This is the center. You look at the Dikili Taş, when you see even Roman says this is the center of the universe. So like after 2,000 years, can you change the center of the universe? No. So we have to keep saying. And also, you remember the Nora Jones? And also I have to remember the Arif Mardin, Ahmet Ertegün. They're the producer. They rest in peace. But the point is, Nora Jones was in Turkey. You know that before? No. She was playing a guitar. So as Bülent said, like I just keep saying these things, like I don't know how many ministers and prime ministers I already told so many years when they visit in Washington, D.C. or State Department. So the point is, if you bring those singers in, or painters or writers, the screenwriters, the poem, they talk about, they live, they fall in love, they love the story, they paint something, and then the Bodrum will be internationally. Only Burhan Doğançay has the painting.
Not
I
only
love
for
him.
Bodrum,
Yeah.
we have to discuss, for example, there's African night. There are some Africans. We talk about Europe. When it comes to Europe, you are talking about love stories. When you go to Africa, wildlife, African night, and I think the music and sound of Africa is specific because at the beginning of the 19th century, you cannot record music, but Africa has the sound. So to market your content is not only the location, your culture. So you need to have to design a plan, what you are going to market in the content, isn't it, my friend? It's not just location.
Little cities in the United States spring up. I've done a show after Prison Break. We did Breakout Kings in Baton Rouge. Why would you ever go to Baton Rouge? Because they gave tax incentives.
Yeah.
They're shooting, I can't tell you how much I've shot, not just in Canada, but in little places in Canada, like Hamilton or in Victoria, because they want to bring you there because you're going to make them look good. Your show is going to make them look
By
good.
the way, 30% less cost Montreal and Quebec shooting instead of the New York City.
One more benefit for tourism, after that, if you sell, for example, a room for $10, you will sell it for $100. It's a value added. You can add value. If you sell a plate of meal for $5, you will sell it $15. So these are the effects, side effects, and effects, direct effects of content for tourism. This is what we can say.
I did both Lost and Hawaii Five-0, and those two, when you go to those cities in Oahu and with a film crew, they treat you like you're gods. It's fantastic because they know what you do for the local economy, but they also know that people all over the world are seeing the best of Hawaii. And it's a huge tourist destination, and there isn't a tenth of what in Hawaii what there is here.
And also Bodrum has the special value, not only Mediterranean in agency. I don't know, have you been in Bahamas or Hawaii or Cannes, but I always, it reminds me of Turkey, and it pissing me off because instead of people spending so much money in, those islands, why don't we have the contemporary art in here, the jewelry, like the people should come here with their own yachts. They should spend for instead of going to Monaco, instead of going to the Cannes, instead of going to the Bahamas. They already had been there. So we have to but give them the story,
Yeah.
and then they should come here to feel that experience. Because you could get the sea, sun, and fun in Cancun like $300 from New York City. But the point is, they don't have anything to give them to Americans in Mexico. Or you could go to the Bahama or any other Bahamian islands. But in Bodrum or Aegean, you know, like it's tremendous. Like I don't know, maybe you don't see it, but it's freaking me out. Like so many food. Can you imagine? Everybody's talking about the Chinese and French gourmet, and what about the Turkish? Like, why don't you talk about the vegan? Do you know how big is the business? Like a $40 billion. 2/3 of the Turkish cuisine is the vegan business, guys. The meat business is dead. So the Turkey should see this. Let's do the Turkish cuisine. Let's make the film festivals in here. Let's make the music festivals here. What about the March and April? Nobody's coming. So let's have the spring break. They should come from Berlin, Moscow, Qatar, Doha, London. So basically 12 months tourism, because the building is still here, but you need a story. That's the whole thing about story, music, love, food, whatever. We have everything, but why don't we have the solution? So that's
We have
what
the
I'm giving
solution. We
No,
have
we
Mr.
have the
Ahmet
solution,
Aras,
but
and I think he's going to make a master plan. I think there's another mayor here. Mayors are very important for this kind of plans. I think one person can change everything. I believe that Mr. Ahmet Aras will change the destiny of Bodrum in this business. And I see very many people from all over the world. I think every culture has sense, has own destiny for filming, and people wants to watch this. I think
for example,
there are many ideas we can
Bülent
predict.
just mentioned before we ending the session, but guys, we're talking about these things in over and over, so we have so many things to talk about. But before we go to the Africa, you're right. Everybody thinks the Africa when you look at the map, because when you compare, they don't see the size of the Africa. I had been in Africa in several countries. So the Turkey could match with Africa with this TV series, with this, the gourmet. And even several years ago, you know, the 4K Ultra HD. So I had a TV channel and airing to Africa and Europe. So we have so many stories to talk about it with the different subtitles, the languages, so we could share and match and talk about with Africa and the destination way. So because this is the gate, and we should have so many stories. Can you imagine? This is the gate to the universe. This is the gate to the space. This is the gate to the ancient history. This is the gate to the modern life. This is the gate to the Africa, Europe, Asia Minor. So the Bodrum is the gate. So don't forget about it. We are the gatekeeper. So don't forget about the gate. So we have so many things to do. If you have the questions.
Can I just add
Sure.
one thing? I also think that I've never seen a movie as an American, with Americans in Turkey. If you just make a film with Turkish actors, it's going to play here, but it's not going to do as well. But when you mix the two cultures, and you take Americans and you bring them here, or I'm saying Americans because it's a big market, I think you're going to see that all these people, 400 million Americans, are going to be interested in Turkey in a whole different way. And it's also, especially if it stars, even Turkish people are going to be interested because it's an interplay, it's a mixture of cultures. So that's
Well,
my
you remind me
recommendation.
something, like 3 years ago, one of my technical director with me, we were staying at the Beverly Hills, and then he was yelling at me, boss, they have Aşk-ı Memnu in here in Beverly Hills. And then he was so surprised in Spanish. Can you imagine like how many people speak Spanish in United States? 60 million people. So basically you have to spend $1 billion to reach them, instead of we charging them the money to watch our episodes in Turkish movies, and then they learn the Turkish furniture, textile, the shoes and everything, and then they start ordering the Turkish food. Before, we have only few restaurants. Right now, at least I know 160 Turkish restaurants in the United States. So everything is about the movie. Just remember your life, like when you watch the Star Wars, you want to be in Star Wars. When you
I
watch
think we are
those-
over.
So it's
there's
like
another session.
Anyway,
So
we have the commercial.
Yes.
We go to the commercial break.
when
Anyway,
Benjamin starts talking, you can ever stop him. So finally, what I can say, we tried to market our industry to your industry. Now, in this era, I think cross-marketing is very important. We need you, you need us. That's the issue. If we can find the right way, I think it will work, and it worked in past, and it will work in future. I
Bülent,
think.
I
This is
supposed
my
to say
final
that?
verse. What you say, and let's finish the
No,
session,
no, no.
please.
Do you have the questions? At least
Can
when
we
are
take
here?
have we raised any questions? I'd like to hear from you guys
Questions,
as
please.
to what
Any
you might
questions?
want to know from us.
We explained very well. Nobody is asking questions.
Hey guys, any questions?
Okay.
Yeah, somebody has a question. Okay, go ahead. Dubai.
What inspires you to make a movie, and did Bodrum inspire you, or what?
Yeah, but it's more the people for me. I think the movies and television are people businesses. And honestly, any place I go, the best reason to go there is because of the people. And I've been here now, this is my 5th time in Turkey. Every time I've met great people, every time people have been kind to me, and every time I also learn about history. I mean, the great thing about being in the film business is that you never stop learning. And it can be reciprocal because you learn things and then you share them with other people. And so that's what inspires me the most, is you.
Okay.
last
I think we are over.
Okay, he has the mic. The last question. Okay. Any clue? İpucu var mı?
Thanks for the opportunity.
Sor.
I have a question. Is there any open source that we can get figures on how much films contribute to the promotion of destinations? For example, Asmalı Konak. How much was the tourism income of
10 times
Cappadocia
folded.
before?
No. It's much more than that. In Turkey, there is research in many universities. Some of them come to me and ask what happened in Asmalı Konak. You can find exact numbers in many universities. They have reports. When it comes to world, you can find PricewaterhouseCoopers every year publish some numbers about
Figures
this,
about
the
the
figures about that. You can find that there are many open sources. If you find, if
You
can
could
look at
probably
Google.
Google it and have it before you got out of
Yeah.
this room.
Thank you very much.
But minimum 10 times folding. 10 times. In Cappadocia, even more. They have only 2 hotels. I don't know how many hotels right now. 50, 60?
6 months ago, I was there. I was surprised. After 18 years, I think everywhere became an hotel, but concept hotels, small carved houses. There's history there and everything. So it's not just building something. They built life, new life.
At least I know 148 balloons, at least.
Yes, at least.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
148 balloons, each of them takes like 10
So
people.
I think we are over. We have another session. Thank you for everyone listening to us. Thank you very much. Bobby?